Over 100,000 estimated to gather in Tel Aviv for largest anti-government protest yet.
Here's a summary of the article.
Critics of the new government's proposals for radical reforms to Israel's judicial system gathered Saturday night to protest for a third consecutive weekend, with a major rally in Tel Aviv and smaller events in other cities. Police estimated that some 110,000 people were gathered on Tel Aviv's Kaplan Street and at Habima Square, making it the largest protest yet. One of the demonstration's central organizers, the Movement for Quality Government in Israel, said it was acting against the dangerous revolution that the new government is planning to advance, a revolution that will destroy Israeli democracy. Arriving at the protest after suffering criticism for skipping last week's event, opposition leader and former Prime Minister Yair Lapid told reporters, "What you see here today is a demonstration in support of the country. People who love the country have come here today to defend its democracy, to defend its courts, to defend the idea of coexistence and of the common good." Moshe Ya'alon, former defense minister and a key protest leader, addressed the crowd to call Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's desired government a dictatorship of criminals. A handful of pro-Netanyahu protesters with banners reading, "Leftist traitors," held a counter-demonstration, but were kept away from the main protest by police. One protester, U.S. expat Robert Barak, said he'd come out to protest the fascist government he said was threatening civil liberties.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
That's more than 1 in every 100 people in Israel out protesting.
Indeed. It grew from 80k last week to around 100k today.
They say, night is descending on Israel, more like it's the brightest it's been in years. People have had enough of the BS.
People have had enough of the bullshit worldwide. I'm proud of them.
Greater than a handful of pro-Netanyahu protesters with banners reading, "Leftist traitors?" held a counter-demonstration shows the desperation of the far right if they're calling right-wing, religious participants leftist traitors. Sad.
UK Labour is marching to the right. The Conservatives still call them Bolsheviks.
Most left-wing parties in Western democracies have moved to the right in some way or another in the last few decades. That's neoliberalism for ya. The left became far too entrenched in the social element and not the economic one. There's been gains made in the social element, sure. But it was never a question of either or there. Money speaks loudest, it seems. Blair is definitely a poster child of that shift, but he's not the only culprit. Not that you were saying he was.
Greater than in 2002, 12 years after Margaret Thatcher left office, she was asked at a dinner what was her greatest achievement. Thatcher replied, "Tony Blair and New Labour. We forced our opponents to change their minds." This is because tearing apart the judiciary with an indicted PM and several ultranationalists overseeing key areas of Israel's government is a bit of a cause for concern. I laud the Israelis that have turned out for this. Israel should never and can never turn into some autocratic state with a judiciary that rubber stamps the decisions of the ruling coalition. Decisions that become etched in stone for future generations of Israelis.
Some people have the desire to do something about fascism. Fascism has become way too popular. The lies, the dead, the bullshit.
If just one person in the whole world felt fascism was even vaguely tolerable, that's fascism being way too popular.
One is one too many. We need to be far more aggressive worldwide in ridding the world of this plague.
I like how the headline calls it an anti-government protest? As if they're a bunch of anarchists who want no government or something. FFS, it's about the authority of the Supreme Court basically being dissolved.
It's absolutely a biased title. The other title I saw called it judicial reforms, when in reality it's gutting the judiciary to make them a rubber stamp for the ruling coalition to cement its power and vision of making Israel great again. Mega geometrically, that's 54.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.